After 3 hours, bread is rising up to the top almost. You can see the line here, but actually it's rise up to the top. And divide the bread dough in half. I'm making 2 dough with this recipe. It's a little soft because I'm trying to make nice soft bread, but yours turned out a little harder than this. That's okay. Eventually you'll get feeling and you'll be able to work with the softer dough. Now, to shape the dough, there's so many different ways to shape the dough. I'll show you the couple ways I do. One is just you bring the edge and put it inside. Bring it to the inside and kind of circling and keep bringing to the inside. In the middle, I guess it's in the middle. And then kind of worked way from outside to tucking it in. And if there's any bubble, you can dip your finger in a flour and kind of pop it. The other way is you put it on the surface and you kind of circle it. Circle. And then you just kind of push it aside. It kind of circles and tucks itself. Basically trying to create this nice outer layer, kind of smooth outer layer. But you don't want to work with your dough too much, to deflate too many airs deflated and it's gonna be kind of flat. So the other way you can do is kind of drag it and it tucks itself. Bring it and then drag it aside and then drag it. Now you can see it's tucking and kind of stretching the outer layer. You can see now it's overworked. It's almost like breaking apart. And then you can put it on a parchment paper and let it rise it on a parchment paper. Or I have bread basket. Then I'm gonna put it inside the bread basket. I'm dragging it, I'm shaping, and I nicely tucked in, popping some of the airs. And I have this bread basket. I need to put the flour in the bread basket, cover all the holes with the flour, and then put the bread, the smooth side down, and then you just top it with dry flour. So, and then you're gonna let it rise, cover it up. I usually cover with the kitchen towel and then let it rise for 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours. And before it reaches certain point, then you have to turn on your oven, because once it's reached the certain point, then it's gonna be overproven. Then it can go flat when it goes to the oven. So you don't want to do that. So maybe a couple hours later, I'm gonna check on it, and then I'm gonna turn on my oven. It also depends on the room temperature. If its room is warm, then it will rise quickly. If it's cold, it's gonna take time, so just be patient. So this is the pizza stone I was talking about, baking stone. So if you're baking in your pizza stone, so put it in and bring it out. If you're baking just in your bread tray, just put the tray on the top of the shelf if you don't have a pizza stone. In those two cases, you will need a tray underneath to put water. So it will evaporate, it will create the steam. I usually put hot water, so it's not gonna lower the oven temperature, not too much. But most importantly is eyeball your oven size and then kind of put your bread in the middle. If you have a pizza stone, make sure you put the pizza stone prior to turning on the oven, because once temperature reaches certain degrees, it doesn't mean the whole entire oven is warm enough. It's just saying temperature reach to this amount. And then you wait another 30 to 40 minutes to make sure the stone gets heated up, all the parts in the oven heated up, and then it's going to be the temperature you want it to bake the bread. And also make sure you put some tray underneath before you turn on the oven. I'm using cast iron to make my bread. So before I turn on the oven, I heat up my cast iron inside the oven. So this is the lid, and I put it on down the underneath shelf, and this is the actual one to put the bread in. So I heat it up about an hour, and then once it's hot, it's gonna be extremely hot, so make sure to be very, very careful. So what I do is I take it out and put it on the stove top. Then I flip my bread from the basket, and then I score it, then I put the top. And then that's how it goes in the oven. And then obviously my oven is playing trick with this light. And you put the top because you're trying to create nice steam inside, so the crust is gonna be nice crunchy and inside gonna be nice and soft. And I bake it like 20 minutes. Then I take the lid off. I bake it another 10-15 minutes depending on the color. And then you take after like check the color after 10 minutes or so. If the color is nice and the desired color you want, you can take it out. And if it doesn't look good, you can cook another 5 more minutes. And that's how I bake my bread. So in order to make sourdough bread, you don't have to have these items. You don't have to have a cast iron. You don't have to have a breadstone. You can simply use your tray and use your oven, and then put something underneath to give you that steam, and that will be all. I was just learning, experimenting different things, and then this is the way I make my bread these days. I just got this recently, so this is something new I'm trying. So you don't have to have these. Please don't discourage. Just continue to bake and experiment your oven and bake your bread.